Okay, so being 7 o'clock, start the Conservation Commission meeting, present myself, Ed, and Steve. The first thing on the agenda at 7 o'clock is 25 A Street, notice of intent, Joe Webby Engineering.
Joe Webby, Webby Engineering, with me is Laura Black.
Hey,
Let's see,
my cards.
seat your cards. And Linda currently lives at 25 A Street. This is her dwelling. And was it last October storm that...
October 27th.
Yeah, the tree fell on her house, caved in the roof. The house is unlivable now. So what you would like to do is obviously demolish that and replace that with a new house in the same footprint. There is a bordering vegetated wetland that we had delineated by Brook Monroe, and then we have a 50-foot and a 100-foot. And the closest activity to the wetland is going to be the septic system at around 93 feet. This will be about, the house is going to be about 78 feet. So basically all our work is going to be beyond 50.
Okay. And staying within the
Unless
footprint.
Laura wants to say anything else, that's what we're trying to do.
Try to get it.
From current grade, what's the depth of the bottom of that tank? I mean, sure I can look at it. If you have it off the top of your head, that'd be great.
Yeah, no, I can figure. So the bottom of the tank itself,
Yeah.
bottom of the tank is
Below grade, how much, what is it?
66 minus 5.5.
And was there no existing septic there before?
Yeah, there's two cesspools.
Cesspools, okay.
Yeah, so we're gonna put a Title V system there. This has been already approved by the Board of Health engineer, review engineer, but I think it's on the agenda at the Board of Health. to
So
actually put that
is this for the septic and the house then?
This is for the septic and the house.
Okay.
Any grading, actually, there's not going to be any grading.
Okay.
It's going to be basically, this is going to be elevated as opposed to bringing up any grade.
Using the existing foundation, or are you?
No, it's all brand new.
So even the, what was there? Slab or a foundation?
Cement blocks.
Cement blocks, okay. So they obviously didn't go in very deep, so what are you pouring now?
It's going to be a standard foundation.
How deep?
I think
Everything's
it's
going
just
to
gonna
be
be like a
up to
slab.
Okay. Because a lot of times with it's almost like the earth is a sponge and you start pushing down into it with that kind of construction, you make a difference in everything around it. I know you keep it the same footprint, but if it's going to be a slab, that's even less of an impact. The septic's.
Just planning on not going down, but
Yeah.
actually putting dirt so we
Yeah,
can
yeah.
kind of go up
Okay.
and be out of the water level.
Yeah.
We're actually working it a little backwards. We didn't want to pump for we are pumping for this. Okay, so we are pumping for this. So this is going to be about the same grade
Okay.
with the slab on grade.
Okay. So you have a pump, so it's not all that deep.
It's for the rebuild. Okay, any questions, anybody
I don't know, it
else?
seems pretty straightforward to me.
I think it's pretty straightforward, but
Yeah.
going off of Steve's concerns, did the Board of Health ask for a raised system and approved it yet?
There definitely has to be a elevated system because of the water table.
Yeah.
That's a definite, that's Title V. The plans were submitted to the board and approved by their consulting engineer.
Okay.
But I believe tonight they're down there meeting, I think this is the first meeting they've had in about a month.
Okay.
It's on the agenda tonight, so I can't tell you that the board's approved it, but obviously it's gonna be subject.
Yeah.
They can't get a building permit without it.
Right.
So could I make a motion and just, on our vote, I would just suggest that in our motion that we have it pending Board of Health approval?
Yes, absolutely,
Yeah.
because they may require you to have a grinder or something else, depending on how many bedrooms the house is, so yeah, obviously, pending approval of Board of Health.
Sure, I think that's,
Yeah,
Yeah, because they might ask you to have a tight tank or anything else
Yeah.
over there too, so.
yeah. And any erosion controls?
we are not, now this is already previously disturbed,
pre-owned.
so it's basically all flat.
Okay.
We don't anticipate anything flowing in that direction.
All right, so you want to make the motion then?
I make a motion for 25 A Street to be approved per the Board of Health
And then-
approval.
I second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, all set.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Good luck.
See, thank you.
This one's gonna be... So we got a couple minutes. Anybody want to make a motion for bills?
I will make a motion to pay our bills.
Second?
All in favor? Aye. Oh, you got pens?
Oh, you do that too?
Sure, thank you. I didn't think you'd get the pens. So bills are done. We got like 5 minutes. Let's see. Oh, we can pay the bills and sign them.
Oh, Vince.
Bills.
How's it going? Good.
Sorry.
We love that if I were awake yet. Yeah, for 35 hours and 3 days of video.
Here's the sign. That's close. Anybody here for the Palmer Mill Road? Okay, so being 710, 63 Palmer Mill Road, McGlone Enterprises.
Hello.
Hi.
All right, so I'm Shane McClone representing Sharon Hartz from 63 Palmer Mill Road. And Sharon has a failed septic system. So what we are proposing to do is put in a 1,500 gallon tank, 1,000 gallon tank right in front of the house with a 14 by 30 raised leaching bed, essentially right in the front yard. You know, we've got approval from the Board of Health already, and that's about it.
Where's the existing failed field now?
Right here on this
So
side.
the existing failed field is even closer to the wetland line, so that's
Oh, yeah, and
significantly closer. Yeah,
in the water table too, that's
Yeah.
so the more important part.
yeah. So that one I can look at the
Who
elevation.
you gonna be with?
Yeah, you're a full, looks like you're, wow, 40 feet higher, really. Well, looking at that elevation, quite a bit higher.
So
Looking at-
I'm up here at 98.
Yeah, you're 90, and that old one's down around 50, 70s.
97.
Yeah, yeah, so, yeah, that's not. And you've already got Board of Health approval.
You got it?
Yeah, I don't see any problem with that at all.
Any
It's a
questions?
much better situation.
As long as they use all the erosion controls and the proper things they're supposed to do,
Yeah.
I have no
Yeah.
issues.
Yeah,
Yeah, maybe using any erosion controls, any silt fences?
Yep,
or-
yep, that's what we got this red line
Yeah.
here for the erosion control barrier.
Perfect.
yeah, very nice.
Make a motion maybe with the standard order of conditions?
Well, this is an RDA, so
Or is that
that's
So you don't need that then?
negative 3 or something.
3 or 3? Let's see what she has here. You're right. Okay. Make motion?
I make a motion to approve 63 Palmer Mill Road.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
It's easy.
Well, it's easy when you do it the right way.
Yeah. All right, thanks a lot. See you later.
Okay, so we have,
Are you not doing your anymore?
No. Get back.
well, we have 5 minutes. Let's see. Is anybody here for 20 Holmes Street? Or 31 Ocean Ave? No? No. Okay.
I think Mr. Grant's here. I drove by the grandstand.
Okay, was it 7:15? It's just still early. But that's good. I don't have to worry about the phone.
Maybe in 5 minutes. What is the status of 20 Home Street? What is going on with that and what have you?
We invited them to this meeting. The secretary had sent them, I'm not sure if she called them or sent them a letter. So that's why I was calling to see if they were, that's why I called out to see if they were here.
It'll be discussed when it comes up as an item agenda.
But they, yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome, but we sent them a letter, like I told you. Yeah. I'll start early. Let's see, Charlie Grant. Yeah, hi. 7, see, River Street Solar Project?
Yes.
Perfect. Publicity's being 7:15, the River Street Solar Project, amended order of conditions, revised plans.
So you guys got a new easel?
Got an easel.
Alright.
Hi, I'm Bob Grant. I'm with River Street Associates, the owner of the project. My son Charlie, also with River Street Associates, Essex Capital. I can start by giving a little history. I can start by answering questions. What's your pleasure?
Start with the history, then we can, as you go along, we'll
Sure.
interrupt with the question if we have one.
So this project, we started the permitting process on it in 2018. In 2018, we filed a plan to build a much larger system. It was a 5 meg AC, 7 meg DC system. And it basically encompassed the entire roughly 56 acres of the site, always interconnecting out there with National Grid. When we filed for interconnection, we found out there was a constraint on the circuit, and National Grid basically said you have two choices. You can wait several years and pay several $1 million to interconnect on the circuit running in this direction, which has capacity for a large system, or you can downsize the system and interconnect much more efficiently coming out this way and to Pratt. We basically made the decision at the time to downsize the system. We then, in the process of having downsized it, we started examining different racking options. Well, first we downsized the system. We turned it into a 1.5 megawatt AC, 3.1 megawatt DC system. Again, those are just the way that solar arrays are basically measured. We started examining other options for the racking, and that was the biggest change that came basically starting in 2021. What we did is we originally permitted the project with what's called a fixed tilt ground mount system, which if you go to 107 River, it's a driven post. When the modules are, the racking is assembled and the modules are basically hung, they are fixed, meaning they're always facing at 180 degrees to true north at a fixed tilt, 20 or 25 degrees. What we decided to pursue was what's called a single access tracker system, different racking system. Again, same parameters on the array, same size, same number of modules, but just a different rack holding. And what we originally came back with to both the Conservation Commission and the Planning Board was a change in the racking system from the fixed tilt ground mount to a single access tracker. Now the first iteration, and I know there's been several and I apologize for that, but there's also been 4 years that we've gone through, which is a lifetime, by the way, in the solar industry, technology, and everything else I can bore you with, but we actually initially tried to design a system that was called a basically solar agricultural combined system, pursuing what's called the Ag Adder through the Massachusetts SMART program, which is basically the concept is you build a single access tracker, but what you do is you have to elevate it to allow equipment to pass underneath, and you have to pull the rows apart so that a certain percentage of the unobstructed sunlight hits the ground. So we came back with a plan, and that was the plan in May of this year, which basically had a configuration, and it was a single access tracker that was designed to comply with the Massachusetts SMART regulations for the agricultural adder. They call it a dual purpose or dual use system.
I have a question.
Sure.
Sorry to interrupt.
No
And
problem.
Rob was the one that came and presented to us for that,
I
correct?
think, yeah, that was my other son.
Okay.
So the footprint, and basically what has continued to happen here over time is the footprint of the array has continued to shrink. Whereas originally we were using the entire site, the ag adder, and I did this the last time, and I thought it was helpful, but one on top of the other. Basically, this is a small version, but it shows the difference. And if you thumb through it, you'll see what basically is happening. So we originally went from the full fixed tilt ground mount system, which basically covered the entire site. We then went to a single access tracker layout, which was designed to meet the agricultural requirements. And long story short, we decided about 3 months ago that pursuing the agricultural adder layout was not a viable option for us. And the first thing we did is we said, okay, we like the single access tracker, let's just convert it from the agricultural adder spacing down to what is basically referred to as a conventional single access tracker, which basically means the modules are lower to the ground, the rows are a little closer together. That's what we came in and talked about in July, which is basically saying, okay, we went from the fixed tilt ground mount to an agricultural layout to a conventional layout. And every time the footprint of the array continued to shrink. Once we went out for pricing on the construction of the single access tracker, we found out that it was wildly more expensive, quite frankly, than we anticipated. Both in the installation costs, electrical contracting costs, the cost of the racking, trenching, wire, the whole 9 yards. And basically the program was not economically viable. So we said, okay, what do we do? We said, all right, let's go back to a conventional fixed tilt ground mount system. Let's basically go back to where we started, just in a smaller footprint with a smaller array. And that's the plan that we developed and we brought into the planning board on August 4th. And we presented to the planning board and said, went through the iterations and said, we've gone from covering, approximately 35 or 40 acres of the site down to basically only covering about 12 of it. We've reduced the impacts. We've always been within the limits of work that were approved. We've reduced the impacts dramatically, the amount of trenching. We've removed posts from the 0 to 50 no-touch boundary around the wetlands. So they're now 0 at this point. We dramatically reduced even the number of posts that are located in the 50 to 100 foot jurisdictional boundary. Our mistake, quite frankly, and I'll take full responsibility, is we thought, okay, we have an approval for this particular layout. If we want to do anything else, we thought the process would be go to the CONSCOM first if it impacted jurisdictional areas, and then go to the planning board and say, okay, the CONSCOM's looked at it. So that was our mistake coming in on 823, because on 823, what we wanted to do, and we've completely withdrawn this concept, was to basically change what's called the pitch. The pitch on an array is the row-to-row spacing. And what we designed and what we laid out here was a pitch of 26 3/4 feet, which means between each of these rows from the post to post is 26 3/4 feet. What our engineers came back with and said, if we can increase that pitch to 28 feet, meaning just add a foot between the rows, you'll increase the efficiency of the array by about 10%. So there's approximately 60 rows here. What we came in on the 23rd, and again, we've withdrawn this, was to basically extend the array 60 feet. Now, the reason we, quite frankly, in our own error of judgment, we didn't think it was controversial, was because we were still within the limits of work from the original approval of the larger array. So we didn't think we were doing something that, anyone had objected to at any point. But we understand that we went along the process incorrectly. So basically where we are right now, this is the plan. We're not going to change it. It's as I've, basically kind of as I've laid out. It is a 1.5 megawatt AC, 3.1 megawatt DC array. It is a fixed tilt ground mount system. It is only, I think the array footprint at this point is down to about 12.5 to 13 acres of the entire site. The only other change that we have made is when we were pursuing the single access tracker array, we had these equipment pads down here because they were servicing, the entire site. We moved them back up into a more central position in the array, which cuts down on what are called wire losses, making the array more efficient. But that's effectively what we'd like to do.
And how about the road that you were going to use to go to the other side? Is that still on the plan or no?
That is on the plan.
It is.
That has never changed since day one.
I'll just comment as well. It was also, because this is the same plan that was presented to the planning board on August 4th, it was on that plan as well.
Yeah.
Our entire, we've appreciated the dialogue with the Conservation Commission and the planning board, and I've worked to be in close contact with the secretaries of each body to try to make sure that we are talking. There's ample communication and that we are all looking at the same plan. So that's, I hope that answers your question.
Yeah.
But,
So relative to the road, just to put it in perspective, obviously the road was designed at a time when we were going to build a much larger array. At the end of the day, once this array is built, there is no other way to get to this side of the site without this crossing and basically this road. We intend to keep this in, I guess quite frankly, it's sort of historical agricultural use for now. We'll continue to hay, we'll continue to keep the vegetation under control. We have to allow equipment to get out there to do that. And ultimately, what we do out there, obviously we'll come back and we'll be talking about, obtaining approvals if we ever expand the array and basically look to replicate what was originally approved, or some such iteration. But again, that's, in the future TBD.
Yeah, because you have National Grid to deal with on that.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. We can't, you got 3 levels of approval that are in play. You've got the local approval here. You got to get the interconnection approval with National Grid, which is a whole different animal. Then you've got to get the state approvals through the SMART program and what's going on with the DOER and the DPU. And not to bore you with how you got to line things up, but at the end of the day, unless they all line up, there is no project.
the other thing I just wanted to point out is that there is actually, at present, it's more of a track, but there is a kind of informal road out there in that, roughly that location.
So there's already an area that's crossing there.
That's correct.
Yeah, there is, you can see the extension of this, but that is basically, this crossing already exists. And all we're going to be doing is utilize a pre-existing crossing that's been there for, we don't know.
How does the water flow under the existing road?
There's an existing culvert.
Okay. And do you know, and you haven't had the property this long, but do you know when the culvert went in? Because I assume that you won't be grandfathered in under federal law, especially when you deal with all 3 bodies of government for the Clean Water Act.
Do I know when the culvert went in? The answer is not off the top of my head. I can do some more research.
Yeah, because I'm going to assume that if we voted to allow you, that we'd have to put the condition on that we ensure that it's done if we have to under the Clean Water Act.
And I'm sure the culvert, because what is the road now that crosses that river in that culvert? What material is there?
It's gravel.
It's just gravel.
And that's all that it's going to be.
Oh, you're not gonna?
No.
Oh, no, we're not paving
Okay.
anything.
All right, I was gonna say, because the extra weight
No,
Yeah, you gotta reconsider what the
And then what
culvert's made
type
out of.
how much more use is it gonna get with the equipment? Will the equipment be heavier? Will the culvert be able to stand up?
I think the answer is not a ton of use. It's probably seasonal. It might be a couple of times a year. I mean, assuming initially it's vegetation management, quite frankly. It's, you know,
And that's what you've been
brush hog.
using it for now.
Yeah, I think that's what they probably been
Yeah.
using prior to.
Right.
prior to
That's what everyone's been using it for
Kind of
as long as it's been there.
Yeah, you've got some gorgeous meadows over there. So. And I'm glad that I'm glad since our last
Charlie,
meeting,
yeah.
Charlie, that I've been assigned to Rob before in the past.
Sure, yeah.
So I'm glad you brought that and stuff with you. It makes me much more comfortable than our last meeting.
Yeah, sounds great. Yeah, it being the summer, we were actually in different locations for about a month. Just people taking vacation and things like that. But yeah, it's good to have everyone kind of in the same room on the same page.
No. I just wanted, you're good. I just wanted to say that and on the meeting because I was pretty harsh at you the last meeting. So
You're doing your job. I appreciate it.
I hope the residents do.
Did you have any other questions?
No, I
Steve?
found out about the
No,
road.
not given that, the current, that plan.
Anyone want
back
to? So this
everything
is going to be what Debbie said she's going to do is, this is going to be an amendment to the prior one, so we just
Amendment
have to
to order
vote
condition.
to agree to this, and then she'll make the amendment on the prior one.
Great. If I could go back 1 second, in terms of this crossing, that was previously, it's been in the plan and approved every step of the way. So is there some other approval you think that might be necessary to?
Just, they've changed the Clean Water Act and now it includes
Since-
venom. It was changed 3 years ago. They did it during COVID.
3?
Yeah. So
Okay.
they did it during COVID and I'm just doing, it affects, I was a commissioner for mosquito control. So just learning today and over it that even when they do handwork and clean work for different things, even that's already under their permits with the Army Corps of Engineers and others, that they still had to go and make amendments to all of their permits and different things. For the simplest of things, I mean hand clear. So, and it does, it now includes venom pools and covids and catch basins and other ridiculous amount of things that should never made it, especially under the ag road. So I was just curious if it would affect you guys too.
I can ask our engineer. I honestly haven't asked the question.
I don't want to cause a delay or anything like that, but our engineer is actually like kind of on call right now. So if we'd like to,
Well, we can just
get
talk
on-
to him
yeah.
afterwards.
No, you can talk to him after
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I'm not gonna make it a stipulation because we wouldn't enforce federal law on the municipality end anyway. But I'd hate to see you get
In trouble.
in trouble
I
for it
appreciate
because
that.
the feds aren't, $300.
You use that land for farming and everything,
Yeah.
technically, anyway,
It's-
right?
Yeah, it's a good deal.
In
Yeah.
the future?
No, yeah.
Right now, it's
I
just-
mean,
Right now.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
right now
In its natural state.
Yeah, so,
You can set a biologist, you said last time, right? Something like that?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's,
so I mean, you could consult with him as well. He might be a little more well-versed in anything to do with that and the new Clean Water Act. As he's monitoring the turtles and everything, he's probably pretty well-versed in the
turtles.
changes that have happened.
We've made friends with the turtles.
You have to.
I actually adopted one.
we
I'm gonna
actually
send him to college.
to date we have not found we have not seen a turtle yet, but we'll keep
We
looking.
did. We had the site completely
Checked.
I believe it.
completely vetted. We had to put a turtle barrier up and
Yeah,
Unfortunately, we
I
didn't
went
find
through it
one,
on
but
the
that's
property in another
Yeah.
town, yeah.
Okay. Can I make a motion?
I put a motion that we approve the third revision of the solar panel.
Yeah, I think we'll call it this is the August 4.
Oh, okay, yeah, these go by
2022
date.
plan.
August 4th, 2022.
Okay, August 4, 2022 plan set.
All right, second?
I
Second.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All set?
Thank you very
No,
much.
thank you for
Thank
coming.
you.
No,
Yeah, thank you for your work. Yeah.
hopefully
I
we'll
thank
be-
you for coming, because I heard you might be calling in, and I didn't know how to hit the button.
Technology, right?
I know.
Yeah. Wasn't it better when there wasn't any?
I know.
I mean, wasn't it better?
That was more
Thank
for
you.
the engineer, but
I have a question off the record that has nothing to do with other than the fact you guys.
Nothing's off the record.
okay.
Has
Yeah.
the most amazing meadows in field. If any of the groups that we're able to get 3 beehives, would you allow your property to house one in the corner, like bumblebees and things?
Oh,
I'd be
absolutely.
happy to learn more about that, yeah. And
No.
just keep in mind too, we also have the property next door.
That 107.
And there is definitely there's a portion of that that's just more available. There's no solar around it or anything, but it's still meadow and, everything. So we're actually.
No, we'd be happy to, I mean, I can tell you the first time I stepped on this property, I was standing there, I drove in and I was like, that's interesting. Some guy just pulled in beside me in a truck with a cab on the back. And he got out and he opened up the cab and he started throwing pheasants down on the ground. And I was like, that's interesting. So I went over and said, so what's up with the pheasants? Oh, we're just seeding the field. I said, really? Why? Because hunting season starts next week. I said, who gave you permission? Nobody.
Well,
Okay, well, we're gonna put a solar array here, so, solar panels, shotgun shells.
Don't go together.
Don't-
not gonna work out.
Definitely don't get along. Oh no, don't worry, we'll be really careful. No, you won't, you'll take your pheasants, please, and put them down that end of the field.
I know this has nothing to do with this commission, but is it gonna be all lit up like the other one? I'm not a big fan of how lit up the other one is personally.
Yeah, and
I see a lot of solar fields, and they're none of them really have, except the one on.
so what happened is, and we just corrected it actually, you should go maybe drive by it if you get a chance,
Yeah.
that we had those lights on timers.
Yeah.
No, excuse me, we had them on photosensitive cells, and I honestly lost track of the fact that we had done that. So they were staying on, dusk to dawn.
Yeah.
And I just had them all swapped out to timers, and now I think they're set to be on from like, I don't know, 6 o'clock until like 10, something. It's like fences, right? Fences keep honest people out, lights kind of keep honest people away. I mean, at the end of the day, that's kind of what we're
I
trying
know
to
it's
do.
for security reasons. I thought you might have some type of sensors if someone comes in certain radius, then they come on. But
We looked into those, and unfortunately, you'd have that light coming on like.
because the animals in there.
Yeah, a bird flies by, an animal walks by, a tree branch moves, so we thought that the time was, but if you want us to.
No,
shorten
just
it a little,
curious.
I'd be happy, it's just to kind of send a message, somebody's paying attention, right?
Yeah, when you're coming down the road, you see this big lit up thing, like, oh, where am I driving to? So I'm down the 5.
The funniest one was, we were building one of these in Vermont, and I went to a diner down the street, and I sat down at the counter, and this, nice woman was taking my order, and she said, oh, you're building that solar array down the street? I said, yeah. And she said, I was driving by it with my 7-year-old daughter, or 5-year-old daughter, whatever. And my daughter says, Mommy, why are they building all those grandstands over there are they putting in a soccer field? Close. Then I was thinking the lights, right?
Yeah.
You think the Field of Dreams.
Field of Dreams,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
but yeah, I came in for the beehives and Debbie has my email, just send me a note.
I do, and I have Dad and Rob's numbers still too.
Okay, good. Yeah, mine should be on my signature or whatever, but she has it too.
Yeah. Great, well, thank you.
All right.
You're
Good to
welcome,
see you.
have a safe
Yes.
trip home.
See you,
Yep, see you Thursday.
And hello, I'm sorry, I don't know your name.
Jeremy.
Oh, you're Jeremy. Hi, I'm Kathy. Yeah, thanks for coming.
The interviews aren't on the agenda, so we're gonna have to make a motion to add an emergency item. And it's our mistake, and we can do
Yeah.
it because we discussed it last time.
Yeah.
Other than that, if we don't, then we're not gonna be able to do the interviews, and we're gonna be wasting everybody's time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, this is just kind of just asking questions. Do you even have it on them?
I
don't know. If you want to make an emergency,
Yeah, we can just do them.
sure.
The procedural thing. I make a motion to have the emergency agenda item placed on where we forgot to add interviews and already contacted the applicants so that we don't waste the applicants' time.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Hi. Yeah. Thank you for your interest.
I was here to observe.
Yeah, and what did you think?
I'm a little concerned about some things going on over on
Okay.
East Lake, so that's why I'm here.
All right. And it would be an associate member, So it'd be somebody who could interact with the meetings, you just couldn't vote
Yeah.
on anything, but could definitely put your input in there.
Yeah.
What concerns did you have?
Deforestation, basically, what's going on over on 20. There was another address with a steep embankment that I guess somebody is redoing. The house looks great, by the way, what they've done to it, but I can give you the exact address, actually. Yeah, but what's going on over on, I guess, is it 20 Home Street? Was this on the agenda tonight?
Yes, it is.
The
Yeah,
person
pretty
was invited,
stressful, what
yeah.
happened there.
The person
Yeah.
was invited to come, they
Yeah.
haven't, so now we'll go,
Just have a general discussion.
we'll have, yes, so
Yeah,
So,
where they haven't come, I know our secretary had sent them a letter saying that, to invited them to come, and then they also said that if they didn't, then fines could be implemented. But they do have a cease and desist that was sent to them.
I think the damage has been
Already been
done.
done. Yeah, so we hope to get them in here so we can talk to them. The owners.
I have a lot to say about that property when we get
That's-
to the item agenda.
Yeah.
Well, it's a discussion, yeah.
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 So I saw kind of a mirror image of that property, a different property. I guess it's 515 on Ponset. Correct?
Yeah, I think it's 5:15.
515 on Ponset.
Is that the picture you sent me?
Yes, so it's a very steep embankment.
He sent me a picture this afternoon of a really steep embankment. It's good. It's a good view from the lake. We would never see it driving by.
No,
It's almost completely cleared.
that happened about a year ago.
Yeah.
Every other, and you wouldn't know that there's other houses actually all along that shoreline because they're following the law, and there's trees in front of their house, and in the winter they have a great view of the lake. In the summer it's not so great, but it's actually one of the most beautiful areas on the East Lake because there's an exposed boulder that used to come out there on that point, and the ducks, would sit out
Yeah.
there, and it was all wooded, and it's just there's gravel dumped
Yeah, you can see
on the bank.
right on the bank. You can see a bunch of gravel dumped there.
Yeah.
See a few stumps that have got some underbrush overgrown, but you can see the neighbors have plenty of trees.
Send it to
Yeah.
Debbie so she
You
can-
know,
clear it
and,
out.
and the next door neighbor has plenty of trees, but he's got a great view, and the people on the lake have a great view of all this dirt.
And the only thing I noticed, okay, so obviously they had to redo the stairwell, come down the embankment, but the trees that I saw removed were huge, like white oak trees. We're like 50 to 100 feet away from the stairs. So
But that-
it's just, it doesn't make any sense. And the fact that the stumps are still there means the trees didn't need to be removed
Right.
to do whatever work they were.
It would appear that the person removed the trees because you can see
Trees
his
hanging over the
you can
water.
see his deck now, so he can now see the lake very clearly.
The biggest tree was actually hanging over the water. And it wasn't.
And that was in
Is there
some,
any history of that guy coming in or
I know,
anything from?
that was my question. We'll have to look and see if that was.
And that's
something that came
115,
before us.
5:15.
I did find one document from 2020. It was on the agenda, but I didn't find anything else on that. It said that NOI and RDA was needed for a tree removal. But
Okay.
this could be any other information on it, but when you look at it, across the lake, it's like so glaringly obvious, like they're the only ones that have that view in that whole side of the lake. Everybody over there really does a good job, I think, managing their property.
Yeah. So getting back to coming onto the board, but that things like that are what interest you as far as maintaining the bylaws.
Yes.
And, okay.
In
Did anybody else-
addition to, back to the home street, not only did they remove at least 50 trees probably, 5 of them being right next to the lake, they also removed vegetation from the water because if you look at the rush growing in the water, it stops right in front of their house.
I'd like
I think
to.
that's a natural occurrence.
I think we might want to take another look. I didn't do a site visit, I was extremely busy that week since the last meeting. I don't know if we should do another site visit because we've had 2 really good rainstorms. Maybe it might be good to document how bad the runoff is now that he doesn't have a canopy.
We have to get them in front of us first. And
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll
I
set,
have a lot to say about it when we get there.
Yeah,
It's very visible,
Yeah.
by the way, if you,
Without setting foot on their property, it's extremely visible.
But still, you can't
Yeah.
use it and it wouldn't stand up in court.
Okay.
Unless you do it properly, if we were to ever take action.
So-
I mean, as a board, it's not our
Yeah.
job to go off on frivolous hunts and make the community feel like they're being spied at because you have
Right.
activities and hobbies you enjoy.
Well, so we contacted him once as a board,
Right.
So-
and he's
Contact-
not here tonight,
Yeah, so
so.
we'll have Debbie contact them again.
Okay.
Both 20 homes and also our other one. But we'll send something out to 515, I will look into it.
Yeah,
Hold on. So are we skipping agendas to 20 Home Street?
Well, no, right now we're still interviewing, so we haven't even gotten to these two
Did you put up
discussions.
the,
All right.
So I'd like to get back to just interviewing
Interviews.
Jared.
okay.
And we can talk about these other things when we get to the discussions.
Yeah, so we're trying to interview you, Jerry.
So besides that, so we can talk about 20 Home Street when we get
Yeah.
to it. Right now, we just wanted to know your interest in the Conservation Commission. Did anybody else have any questions?
were you ever on a commission before?
no,
Applied for something?
I've just been enjoying,
No,
I enjoy nature and enjoy fishing. I like to bird watch and all things pretty much outdoors. I used to hunt a lot, but I really don't anymore. I hunt with a camera.
And we meet the second and fourth Tuesday of the month. So that you know.
So I do have a question.
Hmm?
So if you were to be appointed as an associate member, are the bylaws and state and federal laws that we have to abide by special to those we only oppose or
No.
wish to stop projects or other things? Or should each and every resident be following them?
I think each and every resident should be following them. Yeah. I mean, and honestly, as someone who moved from out of state, like there was no conservation commissions in Tennessee, Arkansas, Alabama, different. This is a little bit different type of government with small townships. I think, like when you move into a place, especially at my house, which is like literally right on the lake. Honestly, like you don't even know what you can do. I mean, I think everybody who moves and buys a property within the 100-foot zone should be sent, honestly, a copy of the bylaws. Here's the bylaws. Here's and that goes back to education.
That goes back
You have no idea.
A good realtor will tell you what you're getting into.
Well, exactly.
So.
But they also want to sell
Real
projects.
people are trying to sell houses.
Not all realtors.
Realtors are trying to sell houses.
Some properly.
Yes. You know, but sometimes.
That wasn't an insult to you, Eric.
Oh, I don't
Look,
think
my realtor
I wasn't
serves.
going
Follower.
My realtor serves on a committee in this town, and I love the house.
So you'd be available?
Well, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
I'm gonna say something.
You're in the ass too, so if Morse Brothers ever came back in front of us again, because Mr. Goodman's also on the board, we just have to make sure everybody's conflict of interest and disclosures are filed properly.
Yeah,
And I don't live on Lincoln, so the trucking is not.
It doesn't matter.
No, just for future projects, whatever.
It's because you guys have, I call it the neighborhood watch group and your website and different things going on. And you're advocating and you all meet and do different things that you would just want to disclose and have your conflict on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just to cover your own rear ends, not necessary to say anything. It's a procedural thing. Like, I had to do it for mosquito control just when I had them come in and educate conservation on how much mosquito control really works with conservation. And it was because I served for 14 years as a specialist on their board. There was no money, there was no anything. They just because I am a huge supporter of it, the state wanted it on file. Like, as minor as it is, you just want to cover your butt.
Yeah, if they ever apply in front of us again, file that paperwork.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Jeremy. Nice meeting you.
You're welcome.
So, see, we have those two discussions.
Is there anyone else for interview? Or?
No, I don't think anybody else came.
Dave was here, but I think, given some other things he's been doing, I think he knew that's what he was here for tonight, so I think maybe he changed his mind. He hasn't said that to me, but he was
He was here at the meeting?
Maybe he saw the agenda.
Well, we can leave it open if he does come back.
Yeah, maybe. I would have thought he would have asked, though.
Yeah. Okay, so 20 Home Street. I know I said Debbie did send her, the owners, a letter to them asking them to come.
And also a cease.
I think it was a cease and desist.
Okay.
And to come to the meeting. They haven't come. We can try one more time to see if they can get them before us.
I want it. This board is extremely nice, and they're continuing to work on the property.
Yes.
The residents are still complaining
Okay.
about the property, and the fact that they're not here and they didn't respond to anyone in this office shows their complete disregard for wanting to follow the bylaws.
I drive by every day, not to check it out. I go to the train station every day.
No,
And I notice different vehicles, different work equipment, every 3 to 4 days. Not every day,
I drive
but there's
by
work
with,
going on.
I drive by with Kathy because Kathy and I are the ones who did it, and I've noticed the same thing.
Given what happened with, why can't I think of his name? On Ponce there with the fence, maybe let's double check the address, where we sent it, and
Yeah, make sure that they got it.
I think take the next step though. I think,
Was it certified to mail?
Let's see, this was the letter she
Debbie
sent. I don't
always
know if
sends
it,
out it's certified, it has to be.
I
yeah.
don't know if it was, but it was brought, the letter was sent to them, let's see, on August 30th. And asked them to come before us for this meeting to discuss it. And she did tell them in the letters that the Conservation Commission is authorized to impose fines up to $300 per day for violations that are not remedied. If you fail to appear before the Conservation Commission on September 13th, daily fines may begin to accrue. We hope this will not be necessary and aim for satisfactory resolution to the problem. So that's what she had written to them.
Why don't we
But again,
fine them $10 a day to get their attention? And then tell them that it's mandatory that they work with us in a site visit within X amount of number of days.
let's wait.
You know, I'm not a huge fan of fines, but I think it should be a little higher, like 50 or 100.
Yeah, let's go with 100. I was just trying to be nice.
I know you were trying to be nice.
Because this is the first time.
Like $10 people might
Versus
not.
what we were going through with 31 Ocean Ave.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I was gonna just confirm with Debbie that she sent it
Read it out loud.
certified first.
I'm blind, Amy, I gotta get it just to know. I got it now, I can read it, I got it the right way. The Halifax Zoning Board of Appeals will hold a public hearing on Monday, September 12th, 2022 at 7 p.m. in the Board of Selectmen's Reading Room at the Halifax Town Hall, 499 Plymouth Street, Halifax, Mass. On the application by Grayson Tianis and Carol Dowd for a special permit and variance to raise and rebuild a single-family home located at 20 Home Street. Said property is owned, and Carol Dowd of 225 Jean Carroll Road, Abington, Mass. is shown on the assessors map. The applicants are seeking a special permit to raise the existing structure and rebuild a single-family dwelling which would constitute an extension of a non-conforming use in accordance with the Town of Halifax zoning bylaw, Section 167(8)(c). The project will be also be in violation of the Halifax zoning bylaws 67-111, table of dimension and density regulations requiring a variance of the side setback from 30 feet to 8 feet. Area is zoned residential.
So,
That was last night, and I asked,
did they come in front of the board last night?
yes, they did, the zoning board, not.
I know, I was in.
And so were they
And
approved?
so no, they said they have a site visit on October 1st, but I asked if they were approved by conservation. They are trying to extend the footprint of the house and attach it to the garage.
They came before us for the,
This is a couple years ago.
yeah.
Before they sold it then.
And I know they had gotten approval for that, but then they've taken down more trees.
They got approval to extend the footprint of the house.
No, I thought they had-
And then add it, and then
Yeah.
add it to the garage.
No, I don't remember that part, but I remember going there because there were neighbors calling about activity prior to that. And there were some site visits. I know I did one. I told them we can't touch this near the lake, all this other stuff, so. I haven't been there obviously in a few years, and it sounds like there's been much more activity.
And I think since Debbie's been back, that the ZBA and their secretarial staff know that things need to come to conservation. There's not that miscommunication now that before we were understaffed up here and we didn't have anyone from conservation to communicate with the other boards, so.
They stated that it was approved last night. I asked specifically, and they said it was approved by conservation already.
So
What, the
they
house?
lied. So that's another problem, that other boards aren't checking whether Concom or not, because we didn't approve
I don't
20
remember
Home
which
Street.
house.
I remember something, I think they came before us for.
And if it was 4 years ago, they'd have to come back again because they're all expired.
So I don't need to be a tattle, but I really care about the lake. And when I sell properties, I make sure that they know that it has to go within the footprint, that they can't raise the amount of bedrooms. So when other people are starting to do this, as I'm trying to sell my properties correctly, it's a little bit annoying.
That's to put it politely.
Yeah, I was
No,
gonna say to put
understand.
it politely.
And as you're, no, and Jeremy could have stayed, Jeremy knows in our last meeting, we approved to go on to do the education, the materials are
Yeah.
gonna get there.
Fantastic.
We're gonna get
If I can
So
help with any of
Caesar,
that, let me
with
know.
Caesar and different things going, but then when we had our TA, our two selectmen and other things,
Yeah.
like, you have to prioritize what's going on, and so, as Caesar Works is 25 people right now, I'm not gonna give them a 120-page document to upload for me and put, you know what I mean? But it's there, everything's there.
I would love to have that
I don't
document.
remember it.
There's nothing on
No,
Home
I
Street
looked
or
up
anything?
here.
I will put it in every single waterfront property I have.
No, it's neat, and I know Jeremy saw it, because I said off the record, not as even a board member, because he was interested
we'll have a
in
look
different
at
things
it.
and what he could
Yeah, we'll
do.
have to look at it.
And I got him the most recent
pretty
copy,
sure
and
there
it's
was something.
what can you plant, what is good, what's
Can you
good,
send it
what you need
To my personal email that you have.
Yes, before you had your town email.
Yes.
I did.
I'll have to check. Oh, maybe I didn't print it out because it was so many pages. I'll print it at work. They won't mind.
But Amy, I looked, but I thought there was something
It's
that
just a
came
good
before
document
us.
to have.
That was
And it's
approved,
something
but I
the town
can't-
didn't have, sorry.
I'm sorry.
Right.
I thought there was something that was approved, so I'll have to check, have Debbie look into it.
Okay.
And
But
I'll-
I don't think, do you think that you would approve an extension of a house and then extending
I
it?
don't remember what it was, but I have a feeling that they did have something approved
But if
in
it
the
was,
last couple of years.
if it was in the last couple of years, it's probably expired by now, and it didn't include the trees being cut down or anything
No, it
else,
didn't
so.
include that.
And I get this board, as long as I've sat on it in the meetings I followed prior to, unless it was an emergency and a safety issue, you're never allowed the trees to come down on the lake, other things.
No, yeah.
So,
So, but we will look into it and we'll follow up with them where they didn't come today.
and follow up with Debbie and see 100% what was actually presented to the ZBA, because if the ZBA goes off of what they said and it's actually a different vote, like, now we have another problem again.
Yeah. But
It drives me
even,
bananas.
but even if the house was, something with the house, all those trees was not
Yeah.
on any, was not approved by conservation to come down. So, we'll look into it. We can definitely start sending fines.
It's not till I can.
We can, if we wanted to do 50 or 100,
50 sounds
how
good.
about 50 a day? They'll start to get their attention.
50 a day, and then we'll revisit it at the next meeting.
Yeah,
If
exactly.
we don't hear from them, or...
Okay, and we'll make a motion to, we'll start fines on 20 Home Street.
I put a motion that we start the fines at $50 for 20 Home Street until they
Second?
come in front of the board.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And then we'll just check with Debbie to try to
Look into it more.
look into it more, see if she can get them to come to us or come to the office and figure it out. Okay. And then, anything else on that one?
I wonder if we should ask Deb or one of us to see if we can join the site visit October 1st with all the other boards.
So October
That's a
1st
Saturday,
is what
right?
board?
You guys
So
know?
it's the zoning board of appeals.
It was
time?
the ZBA. We don't know. Amy was only, Amy does now.
Okay. October 1st, huh?
We can look into that.
I don't think I have anything going
Yeah,
on.
just so it couldn't be any more than, well, if it was more than 2 of us, we would just have to advertise it.
Gotcha.
As that we all be
Yep.
there as a meeting. Okay. The other one was 31 Ocean Ave.
Anything new there? Or?
He's
No,
still
she-
here?
The concrete's still there, right? I
Yeah, the
have,
concrete, I went down
so no change since last
Sunday,
meeting?
the concrete's still there.
Okay.
The decks still have me, but there's still piles of stuff that shouldn't be there now. Just
Yeah,
looks
and-
big gigantic mess.
We should try to get a site visit there just so
Has
we
he
can
paid
actually-
anything?
I don't know. We'd have to check with Debbie. She's not here tonight, but
So we want to check if he's paid anything. We still
Yeah.
need to fine him for all the concrete that's still there.
in the
He's-
paved side road,
Yeah, and
paper road that he did.
he's still not here.
So-
How more disrespectful can you be and try and not solve, you know what I mean? Like Ed had said the last meeting, he's willing to be cut the fines down in half. But
Absolutely.
if you're not gonna cooperate with anyone to do anything, I think that we should raise the fines that are there, especially where he didn't comply with anything till the season changed and he couldn't use the boat no more.
What were we at for fines?
What was it that we voted for last time? Was it
It
one?
was $100.
It was 150
$150.
just
Oh, was it
for the
150?
paper rate and, yeah, we
Yeah.
haven't
We-
gone up yet.
Didn't increase it because he had taken the deck down, but then he left the other stuff.
Yeah. Let's just, probably vote just to continue with the fines and maybe see what we can do in addition to that.
Can the letter be drafted in such a way that it says that it's mandatory that he allow a site visit, or the fines will increase, not may increase? Maybe a little stronger language might help, I don't know.
We can definitely demand a site visit.
Yeah.
And if we go on emergencies and other things, we're not trespassing either.
Okay.
I don't know if it would be an emergency though.
After so long of ignoring an abort, it becomes an emergency.
We could just probably see the concrete just going by the house, right?
Some of it, but then he's got the trash and other things. What other things is he doing back there? Did the he brought in contractors to remove it within the 100-foot.
Yeah.
I mean, how much damage is that?
We'll have Debbie check with him, see if we can go over and take a look.
Okay.
And we'll just continue the fines for right now, and see what else we can do. Well,
Sounds fine to me.
sound good with that?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And anything else anybody has for the meeting tonight?
I spoke to Sue Wallace, and she said that as long as there's no discussion or votes and that we add to the agenda item every week on the educational forum,
Okay.
Who's
Yeah.
who that is?
our town clerk.
Okay.
Just to go over the open meeting law, because we all wanted to be involved, it's just, as long as it's discussed at the meeting.
Okay.
There can be more than 3 of us, there can't be any votes, there can't be any of
Right.
that.
Okay.
Because that would allow the chair still to be in, Steve.
Yep.
And then it will, we'll still be able to collaborate with the Board of Health. Bob and I had to change our meeting, he had something come up.
Okay.
When I was supposed to meet with him and go over it, because a lot of Concom overlaps.
Oh,
with what
absolutely.
Health
Yeah.
does.
And then,
The Board of Health trumps us in most areas you think they wouldn't.
And you're talking about,
The education.
the education portion of
Okay.
things.
And I talked to Caesar, and with all the upgrades and different things going on, even with the town being short-staffed where it is, when the time comes, we can use the Great Hall, we can do a hybrid meeting, we can
Okay.
add remote in. It won't be any problems like that, like we had the mosquito control forum, because we didn't have the technology
Yeah.
then. But
Okay.
we do now, so
Okay.
that was really cool to hear, and
Yeah.
Caesar's more than happy to help, he said.
all right. Sounds good.
It'll be fun.
Yeah. It's necessary. I think it's probably one of the best things that you can do to prevent a lot of things that come before us. I mean, at least then you don't have people that can, if you've educated them, they can't claim ignorance now. Not that ignorance of the law should be a defense, but
Education is fun too, and you get the right people, and you get the
Yeah.
question and answers
Yeah.
outside of the politics. You can still love your neighbors. Most people go home and think about it, and then they're like, oh. Or they get great ideas that are super affordable and cheap and easy to do with a simple piece of administrative paperwork. I enjoy the education part. You'll actually see me smiling.
Done? Yeah, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
No.
Second. Put a motion.
I
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you.